There's a scene in My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games 2015 where a doppelganger Twilight Sparkle is competing in a tri-cross relay. That's motocross, speed skating, archery. Wait. You haven't seen the Friendship Games? You haven't seen Equestria Girls? In 2013, Hasbro launched a human spin-off of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic called Equestria Girls and took the pony-rific Twilight Sparkle, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Applejack and changed them from magical ponies who live in the wonderful world of Equestria into high school students who go to high school. You know how hard the showrunners worked on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic to build the lore? Starswirl the Bearded literally was teased in season 2, and it took 5 seasons before he appeared physically to fight Shrignold. All that work, fostering the goodwill of the people, inspiring every pony to create fan art of varying degrees of depravity. And then Equestria Girls, like a twisted, malformed cicada emerging from some unholy hibernation. Like the impenetrable, choking fog rolling over the horizon. Like atomic ash, enveloping our beautiful flat Earth into a suffocating nuclear winter. Equestria Girls turned My Little Pony into a cash grab. They turned My Little Pony into something that sells toys.
Met extra een bijzondere Pinkie Pie. Dat is niet zomaar haar, dat is...
Okay, well, Equestria Girls sucks. In defense of Equestria Girls? In the garbage of Equestria Girls. But there's this one scene. Every 4 years, Crystal Prep battles Canterlot High in the titular Friendship Games. Crystal Prep has never lost, not once. So to keep that winning streak, Abacus Cinch holds Twilight Sparkle academically hostage. Cinch is the principal of Crystal Prep. Twilight is a nobody. A smart kid with 0 friends who just wants to go to a good college. And if Twilight can get accepted into this amazing independent study program, then Twilight can go to the university of her dreams. Cinch knows this. So if Twilight Sparkle doesn't want her independent study application to become mysteriously rejected, then Twilight, smart Twilight, will have to compete in the upcoming Friendship Games and help Crystal Prep win. Twilight finds herself holding a bow at the start of the Tri-Cross relay. All she needs to do is hit one target with one arrow. As soon as that arrow hits, Crystal Prep can move on to the rest of the Tri-Cross relay. That's speed skating, then motocross. 1 big point for Crystal Prep in the Friendship Games. 1 point closer to Twilight's dream college. She doesn't want to be here. She doesn't do sports. But Twilight has to do this. Canterlot hits their target first, and Canterlot's moving on to roller skating. The crowd cheers. Canterlot's off to an early lead. They lap Crystal Prep. They lap Crystal Prep again. And now, for the first time ever, Crystal Prep. Never lost a Friendship Games, Crystal Prep. Higher test scores, Crystal Prep. Is losing because Twilight Sparkle can't hit a single target with a single arrow. She starts to panic. Her legs shake. Just hit the target. Why can't you do this? What's wrong with you? Everything's on the line. No shot, no study, no college, everything I've worked for. I didn't ask for this. Canterlot races ahead. The arrow slips from her bow, and Twilight falls to the ground to find the arrow with unsteady hands, wiping the tears welling in her eyes as she pulls the drawstring back. She's not good enough. Why can't she be good enough? Imagine her surprise when the rival team rushes over to help. Twilight's trapped in her own head, too scared to speak. Breathe. She pulls back her arrow. She takes the shot. It's a hit. As Crystal Prep moves on to speed skating, moves on from judging Twilight, Twilight turns to the student from Canterlot and embraces her. The games aren't over, but for one moment, everything's okay. This is a cash grab. There's something in my hand. What could it be? It's a Blu-ray copy of My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games 2015. Well, that must mean... Of course, it's The Death of Germanicus by Nicholas Poussin. I'm gonna ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. If you had to pick between those two, which one is art? Oh no, it's gonna be one of those video essays. No, because it's The Death of Germanicus. Why did you pick that one? Is it because this one's an oil painting commissioned by Cardinal Francesco Barberini in the late 17th century? Is it because The Death of Germanicus looks like a Renaissance painting, and you learned in school that the Renaissance is when good art was made? Unlike the drivel of the Middle Ages, or as I like to call them, the stupid dum-dum idiot ages. Is it because between the two of them, The Death of Germanicus is the one more likely to display in a museum? Is it the subject matter? Contemporary high school students who happen to be ponies versus a dying Roman general? Or is it because The Death of Germanicus is beautiful? Splashes and strokes of maroon and gold fill every corner of the dying sky. A coarse, cooling, whispering breeze scrapes the scraggled leaves up, then down onto the warm desert floor, with the same meekness of two young lovers kissing for the first time. Listen. Through the rousing coyotes, through the yip-yipping of the quail, you can hear the wings of a monarch landing on a milkweed plant, resting for the long migration ahead. If that isn't beautiful, literally unsubscribe, because natural beauty is something that we can just recognize, an innate part of the human condition. My friend Immanuel Kant made a video essay on the beautiful a few years ago, link in the description. To paraphrase, beautiful is... it just is. The beautiful has no intentions. The beautiful is not good. The beautiful is not bad. The beautiful has no function other than to be, in the words of Keanu Reeves, breathtaking. You're breathtaking! It stands to reason that what makes art art follows the same philosophy of what makes the beautiful beautiful. Art comes from the human desire to create something that evokes the same sense of wonder only found in the natural world. To boil down the majesty of a sunset into the paint on a canvas. To harness the beauty of the wind into the etchings on a DVD. Creating art is a human's way of cosplaying God. And we've been doing it for a real long time. After the Persian Wars, the Greeks wanted to centralize power, so Athens built a big treasury on the island of Delos and told the other Greek city-states, look, if you want to stop the Persians from uploading YouTube prank videos all the time, send the Athenians, that's us, a bunch of money and ships, and we'll build a better navy than those silly, goofy Persians could dream of. Over time, the Athenian treasury moved from the island of Delos into the city of Athens, and the money meant to protect all of Greece was siphoned into Athenian macaroni arts and crafts. The woke liberal agenda, ladies and gentlemen. One of those art projects was kind of famous. You may have heard of it. It's called the Washington Monument. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really talking about the Texas State Capitol building. No, I'm really talking about the Acropolis. I really am. The Acropolis was built by artists given creative freedom, stolen money, and one simple rule. Make something beautiful, something worth envying. Creating art is a human's way of cosplaying God. About 1,000 years later, in the town of Junding, China, artisans built the Lungxing Buddhist monastery. Let's walk into Lungxing together, where the ceilings are covered in a spidery web of dagongs, where the walls are adorned with beautiful ancient fresco. These murals depict the life of the Buddha and the 24 protective deities of Dharma, the very laws that govern the great cosmic order. If you Google Lungxing Temple, you'll encounter Sukhavati, the Western paradise, the pure land of music and peace, where those who believe in Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light, will be reborn through the gentle blossoms of a lotus flower. Creating art is a human's way of reaching God. For King Manuel I, it was envy that inspired creation. During a political visit to the Alhambra Palace in Spain, King Manuel was amazed, then angry at the beautiful tiles he saw. So when he got back to his kingdom of Portugal, he commissioned better tiles for his better palace because he's better. You're wearing a Johnny Cash shirt? Name 5 songs. First, Manuel commissioned tiles for the newly completed wing of the Sintra National Palace. And next, he spread tiles across the Kingdom of Portugal. Monasteries, churches. That's pretty much it. Creating art is humans' way of elevating someone else to godhood. Lungxing Temple, the Acropolis, tiles, all 3 are beautiful works of art that make you, as a human, feel small, feel uncomfortably individual. The majesty of the natural world funneled into a single room. But there's something I haven't mentioned, something that all 3 have in common. The Acropolis, Lungxing Temple, the Sintra National Palace, all 3 of these works of art were commissioned. The death of Germanicus is beautiful. The death of Germanicus was commissioned by Cardinal Francesco Barberini in the late 17th century. In our defense of Equestria girls, commissions matter because the majority of artists working today don't receive money up front. When I say commissions, I'm referring to an artist receiving a large lump sum of money from a state or a ruler or an organization, basically someone with infinite money that provides the artist with, within reason, the only stipulation of creating something beautiful. The modern artist does not receive steady funding. And not only do they lack a designated buyer for their finished piece, but they might not ever sell that finished piece at all. In the artist's pursuit of food and shelter, should the artist prioritize the worldly over the natural, the familiar over the beautiful, to deprioritize artistic integrity, to increase the chances that they'll be able to make next month's rent? If the artist creates something to sell, Have they still created art? None of the pieces we've discussed so far have been created under our system of capitalism. Because when capitalism's involved, things get complicated. This is a burrito from Chipotle. Beans, rice, that's it. At time of recording, this burrito costs $4 even. When I was in university, this meal saved my life so many times I couldn't keep track. Unless I had the Chipotle app, download now to start earning rewards towards your favorite meals at Chipotle, where the hardest ingredient to pronounce is Chipotle. Don't forget to try the Chicken al Pastor back for a limited time. This burrito served a function, a very important function. Give me fuel so I can study. This burrito, it can be argued, has a purpose. And if this burrito could magically speak, and I asked this burrito, what are you made for? This burrito would say, to be eaten. I am made to be eaten. The burrito is a commodity, a thing with a clear, objective purpose. A shoe is a commodity. It is meant to be worn. A pencil is a commodity. It is meant to be written with. A pillow is a commodity. It is meant to be slept on, just like my short film, Magnolia Manor. But the commodity comes with a catch. I learned when I was ordering my burrito that the Chipotle crew member ringing me up had just finished their lunch break. So now that you're curious about what the catch is, let's change history and find out. Welcome, viewer, to my new twisted dimension. Notice anything different? I'm at the checkout counter at Chipotle. When I say, you know what, I'm not hungry anymore. Bye. I turn around, I hop in my car, and I drive all the way back home, leaving my poor $4 Chipotle burrito in a bag at the checkout counter. A few seconds ago, when I was planning on eating this burrito, it had a clear meaning. I am meant to be eaten. In this moment, this Chipotle crew member who just finished lunch is now staring at my Chipotle burrito abandoned in a bag. And this burrito is as useless as a pool noodle or a rug or a hair comb, things that do have a useful purpose, but in this instance are not. Marx suggests that a commodity is only valuable to a consumer. If there is no consumer to purchase an object, that object has no value. It has no purpose. It has no meaning. If the baker valued every single loaf of bread she made, the baker would never sell any of her bread. The baker needs to make so much bread that each loaf becomes effectively meaningless. So in this flipping, twisted dimension, I don't buy my Chipotle burrito. I make my own. I stew my beans, I shred my cheese, I make my pico de gallo. But after I eat my burrito, I hop in my food truck, full of 40 other burritos that I made earlier that morning, and I drive off to make some money. Because these burritos, because I'm full, are effectively worthless. Their meaning can only be found in their exchange value. That is, whether or not they get exchanged for money. 35 of the 40 burritos are sold to 35 hungry people. To them, these burritos said, I am a burrito and I am meant to be eaten. Oh, eat me. Oh, makes me hiccup just thinking about it. When I closed my food truck for the day, 4 of my burritos didn't sell at all. So I look at them and I chuck them in the garbage. They mean nothing to me. But 35 burritos sold, plus 4 burritos thrown in the garbage, is 39. What happened to the other burrito? One of my burritos was purchased by a nut job who encases food in acrylic blocks. To them, my burrito said, "I am a burrito, and I am meant to be displayed on a shelf." I don't care. Somebody gave me money? Great! Because the meaning of a commodity is only found in its exchange value. Without the act of exchange, that commodity is effectively useless. Think about your favorite place to shop for clothes. You might like a lot of styles, but not every top fits right. And this one really cute one that you thought looked really great actually has this weird lace thing that you didn't notice when it was hanging on the rack, and it just looks god awful. Who hurt them? Who hurt these designers so that they ruined a perfectly cute top with this? But in your frustration, you find the one, and you know in that instant, it's coming home with you. When we come across something beautiful in nature or in a museum, we can instinctually recognize that beauty on some fundamental level. When we're faced with an object, we can deem it cute in a remarkably similar way. This is cute. This is not. Unlike the beautiful, which has been around since forever, the cute is a relatively new concept, appearing in the 1800s as a description of fashion. Cute hat, cute gloves. It was around this time when the middle class developed proper, with enough money to spend on non-essentials. This period of stability helped adults see children as children, and made the innocence of childhood something worth protecting for as long as possible. Businessmen noticed this shifting cultural view, and more importantly, recognized their parents' disposable income. When you're buying bread at the baker, don't forget a little resin toy for Thomas, and when you're picking up the chair from the carpenter, don't forget one of those cute little ducks. Thomas loves his ducks. Are you a bad parent? You're not gonna buy your child this wooden duck that they love so much? What's wrong with you? Don't you want to protect the innocence of childhood for as long as humanly possible? We see objects as cute, says the armchair psychologist, because we see them as little babies. Big heads and big eyes and little mouths. Well, that's great, pal, but that's seeing the kumquat orchards for the kumquat trees. Cute is a relatively new concept, invented in the 1800s, the first period of widespread human stability. Cute only appeared when our fundamental needs were met. We gave ourselves permission to stop worrying about dying. And we created the cute in response. Imagine the perfect stuffed animal. Round, no hands, or legs, or mouth, just 2 beady eyes on a weird, small, squishy, blobby body. And that stuffy needs to be squeezed, needs to be compressed, deformed. Why do we want to destroy cute things so much? Not with a gun or with a mallet. With our bare hands. Yes, this stuffy is helpless, but wasn't it designed to be that way? In boardroom meetings and focus groups and factories overseas? So why do we want to destroy cute things? Because if you asked this stuffy what its purpose is, it would respond to be consumed by you. Every commodity is cute. Cuteness is consumption manifest. I shoved my burritos in front of a sea of gnashing teeth. I wanted a consumer to consume them. And as the hungry person saunters in front of my food truck, hear the siren call of the humble burrito.
Excuse me. Please take me with you. I'm so lonely. Oh, won't somebody come and take me home? Won't somebody love me?
But the commodity works for me. You only hear this voice if the commodity is calling to you. This is my hole. It was made for me. And if you hear this voice, it's already too late. It's Sunday afternoon. You're in a store and you promise you're not going to buy anything, but then you pass by something that's totally your vibe and it's so cute. Wait, I have to get this. Beneath its veneer of powerlessness, the cute, the commodity, is absolutely powerful. And the commodity always wins. We've arrived at the core of capitalism. All objects are the cute object and need you to coddle them, to hold them close, to bring them home, a watch, a car, a bag, without you to assign exchange value. That commodity is meaningless. Art, on the other hand, can never be cute, because if cute is shorthand for commodity, then cute art becomes a commodity too. Which brings us to Equestria girls, the perfect study for whether or not art can exist within a commodity. Put on your horse ears, wear your hazmat suits. We're exploring ground zero together to find out exactly where the cute ends and the beautiful begins. The story you're about to be told is a story of two rival companies using cuteness to move units. It's the story of an underdog fighting an industry titan and stolen ideas and acquisitions. It's the story of two brothers and two other brothers, the neglect of a showrunner, and an arrow on a target. I'm gonna try to not make this a rant about Furbies. I might not be able to control myself. In 1923, two brothers named Henry and Hillel Hassenfeld founded Hasbro. Hassenfeld Brothers, Hasbro. It took over 17 years for the Hassenfelds to invent their first toy, the ancest toy of My Little Pony, destined for the history books, delivered to a nation with bated breath, and that toy was a doctor kit. For kids! Blood's in the water, and in 1945, Ruth and Elliot Handler formed a twisted evil alliance with Harold Matt Matson to build a weapon to surpass Dr. Kit's. Mattel. Matt and Elliot. Matt and Elle's first big break was a toy instrument called the Yucadoodle. A few years later, Hasbro becomes responsible for the first toy potato ever advertised on television, which, as fate would have it, was also the first toy ever advertised on television. Mattel attempts to rewrite history in their favor. Visit the official company timeline, and you'll see they position their television ads on the Mickey Mouse Club as a revolution of toy marketing. That Mickey Mouse Club ad ran in 1955, 3 years after Hasbro's sentient potato stole the hearts of small-town America. Now, Mattel isn't explicitly saying that they were responsible for the first toy ever advertised on television, but they're definitely not saying that either. You know what you're doing, Matt and Elle and Ruth Ruth's daughter Barbara had a penchant for playing with paper dolls, which got Ruth thinking. Appropriate the doll. Drop the nuke. Kill Hasbro. Conquer the world. In 1959, Mattel pushed the big red button. The sky turned black. A sickly, deafening explosion rocked every major city on the eastern seaboard. A shockwave spread across the entire country. And then, silence. Barbie, the first mass-produced doll in US history that wasn't a baby, was born. 1968, Mattel invents Hot Wheels. 1971, Uno. 82, He-Man. 89, Polly Pocket. But Hasbro's fighting back. 64, G.I. Joe. 83, My Little Pony. 84, Transformers. And then Hasbro chugs a big gulp of acquisitions, and now they own the rights to Power Rangers, and Magic the Gathering, and Monopoly, and Dungeons and Dragons, and Tonka Trucks. Revenge. Mattel sucks the rights to Mega Bloks, and Bob the Builder, and Thomas the Tank Engine, and Fisher-Price. There's a thread here. One makes a move, and the other bites back. Although, it's not exactly clear who they're trying to win over. Because Hasbro owns Furby, which is a girl toy, because Hasbro puts their toys in 3 different categories: girls, boys, and tykes. And Furby's for the girls. Which is why Hasbro invented Shelby, the big mouth clam. He's a shell-shocking sensation. You never know, tickle penny, what he's got up his shell. Shelby is a boy toy because they programmed Shelby to burp. But Hasbro also owns Play-Doh, which is for all children. But Hasbro also owns Nerf, which, I mean, it's either that or nothing. On the other hand, Mattel owns Barney for kids to watch when they're playing with Play-Doh, but put that down! That's Hasbro's Play-Doh, you can't be playing with that. Mattel's also for the adults. Apples to Apples, anyone? With a Cosmopolitan and a peppered goat cheese salad, or perhaps Balderdash with a tall Negroni and a wild rice vegetable wrap. Hasbro and Mattel will tap into any market and will try anything to get those toys in front of that target audience. And in 1977, Hasbro did something unbelievable. Disney was and is the king of merchandising, where a movie's release is paired with the production of dolls and costumes and t-shirts and figurines. But even though movies sold toys based on characters from a film, no one had ever made a movie based on a toy that already existed, for the sole purpose of that movie driving sales for that one specific toy. Hasbro signed Richard Williams to direct, and a few years later, Hasbro released the first toy-inspired movie in human history, Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure.
Hurt nothing. I'm hurt enough. Packages landing on my head. Tea parties, dancing, lessons.
As of recording, there are 242 feature-length films based off of toys that already exist. 44 of those movies were made by Hasbro. 100 of those movies were made by Mattel. If we're going solely based on the numbers, Mattel's looking pretty good. Out of those 242 feature-length films, which again includes a mix of movies from Hasbro, Mattel, Playmobil, Lego, and a bunch of other companies, out of those 242 feature-length films, 57% were direct-to-video, and 22% were released in theaters. That's our baseline. 57% direct-to-video, 22% released in theaters. Mattel released 100 feature-length films, and 6% of those films had theatrical releases. Hasbro released 44 feature-length films, and the number of theatrical releases? 34%. The majority of Mattel's films are Barbie movies, 44 total. And besides the live-action Barbie, the other 43 Barbie movies were direct-to-video. Hasbro, on the other hand, owns the box office. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Ouija, Clue, Dungeons and Dragons. Out of all the films released by Hasbro, the toys with the most amount of films are G.I. Joe, Transformers, and at the number 1 spot, My Little Pony. 1/4 of Hasbro's entire filmography is dedicated to My Little Pony. The first My Little Pony movie came out in 1986, called My Little Pony the Movie, not to be confused with My Little Pony the Movie. Hasbro sells a lot of ponies, so they make another generation of ponies, then another, then a half generation. It's a whole thing. And then, in 2010, something big happens. But if you're a fan of My Little Pony, it's not what you're thinking. Let's back up 3 years. It's 2007, yeah! And two twin brothers, Darren and Garrett Sander, have been working in the packaging department of Mattel for a while. But like a lot of employees who work at the same company for a while, Darren and Garrett Sander started to think about things that happened at Mattel that made literally 0 sense. Like Barbie. Barbie's been a dominating force in the industry for almost 60 years. It's great for kids, but something happens when you turn 8. You start to think, Barbie's kind of a baby toy. It's even worse when you're 11 or 12, except 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds still play with toys. There's just a social stigma around playing with Barbie when you're that old. So Darren and Garrett get thinking, why doesn't Mattel make a doll for tweens? And more importantly, would Mattel launch a new, untested brand dreamed up by a couple of boys in the packaging department? Darren and Garrett convinced the powers that be to hear their pitch. It's a hit. Your project's greenlit, go nuts. Darren and Garrett start researching. They gather focus groups of tweens and go shopping scientifically to see what kids in 2007 are wearing. Hot topic. Skulls, chains. The fashion and the doll design was getting questioned at Mattel. Well, that one's too scary. Her cheekbones are way too strong. Darren and Garrett pushed on. Freaky just got fabulous. In July 2010, 3 years after Darren and Garrett got the green light, Monster High hit the shelves. To say Monster High was a hit would be like saying Avatar made some money. Stores sold out of Monster High dolls in less than 30 minutes of stocking them on the shelves. There was Monster High clothing in Justice, Monster High music videos on YouTube, Monster High jewelry at Claire's. At the time of launching, Monster High had a single TV special, and unlike any property before, Monster High had free online webisodes. No one had ever done it like this. And then in 2010, 3 months after Mattel launches Monster High, Hasbro pilots a brand new show. You may have heard of it. It's called My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic. This show's nothing new because Hasbro's been making shows for every My Little Pony generation since the 80s. Except this time, there's 4chan. And this time, there's adults. For these new adult fans, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is pretty good. Yes, the show was made by Hasbro to sell toys, But the showrunners have turned these serialized commercials into an actual show with a plot and cute characters and highbrow humor for the respectable intellectual. At Hasbro headquarters, things aren't great. Lauren Faust, the executive producer of Friendship is Magic, is getting annoyed with how restrictive it is to work with Hasbro, and in less than 2 years, she'll leave My Little Pony Friendship is Magic completely. But more importantly, Mattel is making millions off their Monster High freak Hot Topic dolls, and the board? The board wants a response. They want retaliation, but we can't just dream up a new brand in 6 months. How are we gonna market research? How are we gonna test? What about the focus groups? We have to do something. Okay, Monster High, pink skin, blue skin, green skin, tween girls, 8 to 12, what do we got? What we got? Transformers, Furby, what we got? What we got? My Little Pony. You know, My Little Pony's selling really good with the kids and with the freaks. And the ponies are different colors. I mean, Applejack's orange, for God's sake. So let's make these ponies into humans and give them pony powers. They'll pony up or something. And we'll call it Equestria Girls. Kids like playing high school, right? We'll put them in high school. Cancer Lot High. Spike? The hell is Spike? The dragon? Spike's a dog. We're moving on. We can make different movies to sell different dolls. Rock and roll, camping, sports. Imagine Rainbow Dash on a motorbike, sports. And in the movie, she could be competing in the friendship games. Put a pin in that. That title needs some work. Okay. Tell the team they're on Project Equestria Girls right now. They've got 3 years. We go live in Q2 2013. Mattel. They're so proud of that cute little webisode format they've got going on, and the press is just eating it up. How breathtaking, how marvelous. We'll do it better. We'll do a movie in theaters. We put our movies in theaters, Mattel. We're Hasbro. Who are you? You're nothing. You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. Mattel has no idea what's coming. For 2 years, the Equestria Girls project was kept under wraps. Then, in 2013, the Hasbro branded dominoes started to fall. On February 27th, 2013, Hasbro released their 2012 investor report, where they humbly shared that My Little Pony earned double-digit year-over-year growth. And because of that unprecedented success, and totally not because of a secret project years in the making created by Hasbro executives as a strategic yet direct response to the runaway success of Monster High, they'll be announcing a brand new IP based on the My Little Pony brand later this year. On May 12, 2013, the teaser drops. My Little Pony Equestria Girls is Hasbro's newest toy line, and there's a brand new movie coming soon to theaters. The trailer drops on June 7th, and 1 week later, My Little Pony Equestria Girls debuts at the Los Angeles Film Festival. The film gets a wide theatrical release on June 16th, and then Equestria Girls hit the shelves. DVD available now. And if you went into stores in 2013, you'd find singles of the main 6, a Doll and Pony combo pack for Twilight Sparkle, a Doll and Pony combo pack for Princess Celestia, a deluxe dress-up kit for Fluttershy and Rarity and Rainbow Dash, a hairstyling kit for Rainbow Dash, a 2-pack featuring Twilight Sparkle and Sunset Shimmer, Pinky's Boutique, a Target exclusive, Through the Mirror Twilight Sparkle, a Walmart exclusive, and a Toys R Us exclusive pep rally set with Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Princess Luna, Fluttershy, and Applejack. Everything's going according to plan. Until that very same year, Mattel launches a spin-off of Monster High. They're calling it Ever After High. I just got off the phone with the boys division. They're bleeding money. It's up to the girls. The Equestria girls. Christmas needs to be big. October. God's punishing us. She invented a holiday just to sell Monster High. November 27th, a little movie comes out. You may have heard of it. It's called Frozen, November 27th. And guess who has the Disney contract? December. The last month of Q4 2013. Equestria Girls, Barbie, Ever After High, and Frozen. Hasbro versus Mattel. It's the week of Christmas. And that week, the #1 selling fashion doll in the United States is Equestria Girls. In 2013, Hasbro's Girls category saw a revenue increase of 21%. That's a 2% jump in their entire revenue stream. That's $32 million. In 2013, Mattel lost $11 million. Let's do it again. 2014, My Little Pony Equestria Girls, Rainbow Rocks, singing dolls, slumber party dolls, a car. Make the movie whatever. We just need songs and a sleepover and someone drives a car. Okay. Rainbow Rocks debuts and Rainbow Rocks sells toys. Next year, 2015, the year of the friendship games. Direct to video? The next generation of Monster High dolls are cute and cheap. Their clothes are molded onto their bodies. They don't bend. They're bland. Monster High was created by Darren and Garrett Sanders. Garrett Sanders leaves the brand. Monster High ceases production in 2018. Equestria Girls made money. And it doesn't matter if you love Equestria Girls or hate Equestria Girls. If you watch Friendship is Magic, it's all money for Hasbro. Friendship is Magic is a commodity. Equestria Girls is a commodity. But there's this one scene, and there's this one group of remarkably talented people who put humanity and soul into these characters, despite the fact that these films were only created as fodder against Monster High. It's easy to define a commodity. Let's define art. You're having dinner on an island getaway vacation when, in the middle of the second course, a volcano erupts 4 miles from the very restaurant you're sitting in. We talked about the beautiful and how, in our quest to mimic nature, we invented art. A volcanic eruption is perfectly natural, but when you're surrounded by flammable trees, it doesn't feel very beautiful. This is the sublime. The experience of something so powerful, so close to infinity, that the self feels meaningless.
Volcanoes are the dynamical sublime, something infinite in power, which, according to science, is impossible, but to us tiny humans with our tiny limbs and tiny brains, to us infinity is very possible, because power is relative. There's also the mathematical sublime, something that appears infinite, not in power, but in size. You know there's an end to the ocean, but you can't see the other side. And the fact that you'll never see both sides at once makes you uneasy.
Beautiful and sublime. Any artist is destined to chase these aesthetics for the rest of her life. But unlike nature, the human must learn how to make art before they can make art.
It's 7th grade. You scribble an anime girl with her hands tucked behind her back in the corner of a worksheet on pointillism.
Your teacher, who's a retired art critic, collects your paper and holds it up to the light and begins to weep. This is it. They manage, under stifled breath, the most beautiful piece of art I have ever seen. It speaks to the human condition. It belongs in the history books. It belongs in a museum. Your teacher has bad taste. But if we can say that, and that means there is some kind of objective truth to art, that there is good art and bad art determined by we, the collective critic.
In the early days of film, the medium was viewed not as an art form, but as filthy, low-class drivel, because silent movies were cheap to watch, and no English means no language barrier, which is why it became such a popular pastime for the poor, the immigrant. And if we slowed down a silent film and took 12 consecutive frames from one scene, printed them, and hung them in a gallery, would this be art?
To answer that question, let's walk to another room in this proverbial museum. One more exhibit. You've just looked at 2 different photo series. Which one was more compelling? Which one was art? When I bought my burrito from Chipotle, it had a clear meaning. What are you made for? To be eaten. See? Clear. If I asked the volcano, why do you erupt? It would not answer. It is only sublime. If I asked the babbling brook, why do you weave through the forest in the way that you do? It would not answer. It is only beautiful.
But if we ask that same question to both of these photo series, one of them would answer, one of them would not. And once we have an answer, that piece is no longer art. It has instantly become an art commodity. Anything with an obvious meaning is a commodity, and any piece of art with an obvious meaning is not art. It is an art commodity. The first photo series we explored was created by Ernie Button, Vanishing Spirits, the dried remains of single malt scotch. Collectively, if I asked this series, what is your meaning? It would not answer. The artist noticed that scotch leaves a residue in the bottom of a glass and shone the light through. The final series shows this relationship with no clear intent. We bring the meaning. I feel uneasy. I feel as if I've stumbled across some crystal skull, some remnant of the star people, that these carvings are a language, one that's lost. I think of the last Kawae'o'o, and the hole inside of myself yearning for something that can never be again. A mating call unanswered. Dying alone.
You might see something different, but that's the point. There is no meaning, no I banda.
An artist sees something in the unnatural, like a urinal, and brings one to a museum. Another artist sees something in the natural, like a banana, and uses unnatural duct tape to stick it to the wall. In both cases, their final meaning is delightfully unclear. The second photo we explored was made by Edward Burtoniski. Mines. These images are arguably more striking than the Scotch, but there's a problem. See, anyone can look at these pictures and get the exact same meaning. Look how we've ravaged the earth, the scars we've left behind. Was it worth it? Yes. No. That's it.
There's no room for interpretation. Either you agree with the artist's intent, or you don't. And yes, those images are powerfully communicating a message, but the very fact that they have a message to communicate makes this piece political, in the sense that everything is politics. Animal cruelty, trans rights, the National Dairy Council, love, peace, good, evil. If you can agree or disagree with what a work of art is trying to say, then it is no longer art. It is an art commodity.
The same can be said for the pastiche, which, unlike the political, is all fluff. It's cloyingly empty. The candy shop, where the sweets are measured by the pound, a bag stuffed with gummy sharks, and bumpy raspberries with sugary bananas and chalky bricks, all crammed on a canvas. Elements from different times and cultures are clumsily smushed together. It's for the novelty, the texture. The pastiche doesn't say anything new. It doesn't transform. It only regurgitates. And because it's so radioactive, almost bursting at the seams with references to Chinese Buddhist temples and the utopian scholastic movement and the American Southwest, your attention is bound to be caught by something.
We've spoken before about an artist imbuing their work with intent. If it has a clear meaning, then it is not art.
Here, it's almost the opposite. The rabid artist is unchained and dashes madly around a room with a paintbrush of everything to suddenly create something so reverential to history and pre-existing movements that it ultimately adds nothing that the individual pieces being referenced don't already say themselves. If a piece's meaning comes only from the referencing of older materials, even if the viewer is unfamiliar with the materials being referenced, then the piece is not art. It is an art commodity, giving the uninformed viewer the sometimes convincing but nonetheless faulty illusion that because the piece is referencing art, then that piece itself must be art. It isn't. It's the same thing as those cheap black t-shirts you can buy at vendor markets where Marilyn Monroe is covered in tattoos, and if you're lucky, she's holding a gun.
Pastiche, art commodity. But what if somebody bought 50 of these Marilyn Monroe shirts and hung them in a museum gallery? When the artist bought the shirt, it was an art commodity. when the museum displayed their piece, its art. After My Little Pony Equestria Girls, yes, this is still a video about My Little Pony Equestria Girls. After My Little Pony Equestria Girls debuted in 2013, Hasbro wanted the next line of dolls to be rock and roll, but rainbow rocks. Hasbro, the company, knew they wanted rainbow rocks. The creative team that made the original Equestria Girls movie had no idea a sequel was coming. So when the creative team got the news that there was going to be a sequel, they entered the problem-solving room. In the first Equestria Girls movie, the big ticking clock was Twilight Sparkle getting her crown back from the disgraced Sunset Shimmer, former student of Princess Celestia. Sunset Shimmer stole Twilight's crown and took the crown through a magic mirror, which transported her from the magical land of Equestria to a normal human high school dimension called I Don't Know. And Twilight had to get her crown back fast, because if she wasn't quick, then the portal back to Equestria would close and she'd be stuck in high school for 30 moons. Or 2.5 years if you don't know the lore. Spoilers for Equestria Girls. Twilight gets her crown back and makes it through the portal just in time, right before it closes. So this Rainbow Rocks, this sequel, needs some kind of new magic that allows the portal to open earlier than 30 moons. So now Sunset Shimmer, who turned good, by the way, and is still stuck in the high school dimension, now Sunset Shimmer remembers she's always had a magic book that goes right back to Princess Celestia in Equestria, Siestia, Fiestia, and the creative team had to fit all 7 of the main characters on screen in the same frame whenever possible. And they have to have a sleepover scene because the powers that be want to sell slumber party dolls, and how are the girls going to play with the sleepover dolls if they don't have a story to model their play patterns after? And the song, Shake Your Tail 'Cause We're Here to Have a Party Tonight, came from another album and wasn't written for the movie at all. So now the creative team has to find a way to shoehorn this generic song about partying in between a song about having a battle of the bands in this music-themed movie, and between the crazy, explosive, mind control finale song. Let me take a brief aside to say that, yes, it's not in Rainbow Rocks, but Unleash the Magic is a song from My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games 2015, and it is incredible. Don't listen to it, just watch the movie. It's free on YouTube. Just watch the movie, because I know how these videos work. I watched the Sideways video on Hunchback, and 4 days later, I was watching the Gargoyle cut on someone's Google Drive. You're gonna watch Friendship Games. Through all those corporate mandates, the Equestria Girls team made a fun movie with good music and jokes and a central conflict about the dangers of thinking you know how other people see you. The Dazzlings want to be adored by everyone and take things too far. Sunset Shimmer wants to be seen as part of the Rainbooms, but never feels like she can say anything because of her past mistakes. And Twilight, who's now the Princess of Friendship, doesn't want people to think she's a screw-up.
Just because everyone expects something from you doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen.
But that doesn't stop them from expecting it.
Which only makes things harder because the last thing you want to do is let everybody down.
And yet, this movie is meant to sell toys. It's a fundamental, inescapable part of its DNA. And as much as I'd like to be a contrarian and turn everything on its head, I can't. This is an art commodity. Hasbro had an end goal with a target audience they wanted to reach, tween girls who like Monster High. Hasbro looked at different toys that could reach that audience and settled on Equestria Girls. Hasbro elected one of their higher-ups to manage the project. Along the way,
there were chances for individual artists to inject their personality. Storyboarders, fashion designers, voice actors, musicians. But every decision was subservient to the decisions made by corporate interests. The marketing team found an angle to sell the movie. The movie played in theaters with frighteningly few modifications. This is the way that all movies are made. Shop for a script that fits your brand, find a director, let the director manage the project while you give edits that protect your bottom line. You, the studio, are invested in the film, this product, and while you don't have a traditional commodity like a t-shirt or a burrito, you still have a commodity, and you still have a target audience.
Kids ages 5 to 10, retirees, college men, sapphic couples, artsy millennials. The meaning of a film, then, is to entertain a specific group of people, even if that specific group of people is you, the creator, the writer, director of this film. If you're making a movie that you want to see, then you're making a movie with a target audience of people like you.
Inglourious Basterds is a film by Quentin Tarantino that uses spaghetti westerns, World War II flicks, and a grab bag of movies that Tarantino likes to paint a story with a thick layer of pastiche. Inglourious Basterds is an art commodity, same as Equestria Girls. Licorice Pizza is a film by Paul Thomas Anderson with a recurring theme of the sleaziness of men. The raging boyfriend who's cool enough to fight a 15-year-old. The drunk actor who ditches his date to perform a motorcycle stunt on a golf course. The politician who uses a woman to pose as the girlfriend of his secret male lover. The meaning is obvious. Agree or disagree. Licorice Pizza is an art commodity, same as Equestria Girls. Queen of the Bugs is an upcoming animated movie directed by me. It's our studio's first feature-length film, 90 minutes of 2D animation, and it's an art commodity. I made decisions while writing the script for Queen of the Bugs that were completely informed by my target audience.
I'm not telling you who the target audience is. Subscribe to find out. So all movies are commodities. They're political. They're pastiche. Their meaning is obvious. They're tailored for a very specific target audience. We have to be missing something. You know and I know that there are beautiful moments in movies that change your life. But now, you know and I know that one beautiful scene, like the archery scene in Friendship Games, is not enough to transform a commodity into art.
While being interviewed about the Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson was read back a quote from his screenplay. "It is an extremely common mistake. People think that the writer's imagination is always at work, that he is constantly inventing an endless supply of incidents and episodes, that he simply dreams up his stories out of thin air. In point of fact, the opposite is true. Once the public knows you are a writer, they bring the characters and events to you. And as long as you maintain your ability to look and carefully listen, these stories will continue to seek you out." The interviewer continues. "So, did this story seek you out?" Wes replies, "Well, in fact, that's all from Zweig. That's not my thought, that's his."
To recap what we know about art so far, art is beautiful or sublime. When asked its meaning, art cannot reply. The more meanings that can be gleaned from an individual work of art, the purer that work of art. art is not. Yes, it is not. No, it is not good. It is not bad. It just is.
Art is as separated from its creator as God from man, where echoes of the divine live within us all. Yet, here we stand, independently beautiful, collectively sublime. And in a world where capitalism didn't exist, that would be enough. The land of pufferfish carving ridges in the sand, where we paint from desire, not for survival.
But to trap art within this definition, that art can serve no functional purpose, means that the capitalistic act of releasing a film into theaters will instantly commodify any film. The purpose of a film is to engage a specific audience and to make money, or else it wouldn't have been made at all.
Turning Red is the real lived story of Domi Shi, an animator born from 2 Chinese citizens who moved to Toronto. And her film is laser focused on what it's like growing up in that cultural space in the early 2000s. Yes, it's a Disney movie, but compare this to Wish or Frozen 2 or Luca, and it's clear that this is the vision of a single director with minimal studio meddling. This is her story.
What if Turning Red was self-funded and uploaded to YouTube? Would Turning Red become art?
If that's true, that a good story is art, then we run into 2 big problems. Any novella on Amazon can now be deemed a work of art just because someone likes it, and then we get into a never-ending arms race of this thing I'm reading is actually art, and then we're praising Chuck Tingle.
And I'm not about to do that. I am drawing the line at defending Equestria Girls. I am not about to start defending Pounded by the Sentient Manifestation of my incorrectly announced Best Picture winner.
But the biggest problem is that conflating goodness with artfulness adds some very difficult subjectivity to our search for the objective truth of what exactly art is. Who gets to decide which story is a good story? We're hunting for the objective definition of what makes a movie art, so we need to keep subjectivity completely out of it. You might love a story. That story could have changed your life. But because things get muddy if we define art on a spectrum of goodness, we're going to need to try something else. Or someone else. Matthew Stevens is not a real person. I mean, he probably is, and he's probably watching this video. Hi, Matthew. But for our story, this person does not exist. Matthew is an animator who worked on the Equestria Girls project. He has a manager, who has a manager, who has a manager. Matthew is given a directive and is treated like a machine whose product is liquid creativity. He is a cog within that machine. His work is exploited for another's profit.
We're entering an alternate dimension where Matthew creates experimental animations that he projects onto his apartment wall. Every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, Matthew films and posts reels of his projection mapping that he shoots onto his apartment walls. One day, the owner of a local bar reaches out and commissions Matthew to come in every first Friday of the month, 5 p.m. to midnight, to project his art onto the ceilings of the bar. It's a steady gig. Matthew shows up, exudes creativity, and then leaves. Unlike the Matthew who works at Hasbro, the Matthew in this universe is not a cog in a greater machine. Yes, Matthew is being used to help the bar sell more drinks by making a vibe, but here Matthew is not only the exploited, he is the exploiter. Matthew has created a field of restricted production. We live in a society bottom text where everything is mass produced. So to create a field of restricted production
is to intentionally reject the breakneck efficiency of capitalism for the slow and the methodical. And you can probably think of lots of commodities that are produced by fields of restricted production. Artisan seamstresses, master woodworkers, handmade chocolate confectioners, they all work inefficiently in the best way possible. To add efficiency to the creative process is to commodify the creative. And when we're bombarded with efficiency every day, when we're trapped within a system that runs on algorithms and automations, it's easy to get angry at the privileged who have mastered the system so well that they can deliberately choose inefficiency. Art starts to feel more like a commodity, like a handbag or luxury car. Art starts to feel elite. When you think about it, though, this restricted field of production cannot exist without capitalism. If everything's inefficient, then everything's efficient. If everyone's super, no one will be. So, in order for art to exist under capitalism, there needs to be a culture of efficiency for it to exist against. Fine art, then, becomes an institution that operates on the fringe of capitalism, like a government-backed science facility or an organized religion. And institutions need some kind of arbiter, a person whose role it is to communicate the approved ideals to the general public. And initially, this power was bestowed to the university-educated tastemaker, serving as both reviewer and critic of fine art. For a long time, the West, the United States, deferred to authority. Presidents were honored as the proverbial head of the American household. And then Nixon went and ruined everything.
You used to be able to trust anything you read in the newspaper, and these days? You're telling me Dixie Downey isn't selling the best sugar? But Dixie Downey said in their big newspaper advertisement. And they wouldn't lie. Would they? Back to the tastemaker. To review is to prescribe a ranking, to give the tastemaker a chance to say, go see this film, or don't waste your money. To critique is to explore the piece with no regard for score, a chance for the tastemaker to explain and interpret the beauty and the sublime. The tastemaker used to be both reviewer and critic, the central authority of true art. We used to trust institutions a lot. These days, everyone's a critic. Except they're not. Everyone's a reviewer, where the opinion of the collective we, rather than the opinion of the elite tastemaker, determines the success of a film. The general public has demoted the tastemaker from both reviewer and critic to just critic, who's expected to explain a film so that everyone else can co-opt their language to explain to their friends why a movie's good or bad. Pity the columnist who pairs an objective critique with a negative review, for the masses will rise to their door with mean internet comments. If this movie was a sob story about a kid with one eye and one leg who learned how to skate, then they would have given this movie glowing reviews. Look, I don't care what some liberal arts major has to say. I liked the film. I thought it was fun. Punching up feels good. Unless they agree with your opinion. But by democratizing the review and distrusting institutions, we've neutered the critic, whose only job now is to create a write-up that no one will read with a score attached, just to make the number on Rotten Tomatoes go up or down. If the critique is deemed ignorable, then the only thing that matters is how many people like it. How many people think it's good. It's the systemic attack on intellectualism, and the embracing of the vulgar, which will lead to the complete extinction of art. In order to save itself from annihilation, especially in the increasingly commodified film industry, an individual work of art can only guarantee its survival if it breaks all ties with the elitist art world. A world that no longer speaks for the masses. A world that grows increasingly distant from the struggling American people. These critics used to justify the existence of art. Now, a work of art must learn how to justify itself. Once again, I fall into my feminine ways. This refrain is sung again and again, with different screens that show different people singing this song in a decaying mansion in upstate New York. A bearded man in a button-up shirt plays a grand piano on a flat, smooth floor. A woman with fringe bangs plays the cello by a banister. As you walk through the installation, a veritable spread of screens, you notice that, despite everyone performing together, they are so alone. Each screen in this installation is a Steadicam. Each screen shows one room, and with few exceptions, each room is filled by one performer. But about 45 minutes into Ragnar Kjartansen's The Visitors, the people start to leave their screens. Every room becomes empty, except for the man on the grand piano. And this man's steadfast devotion to playing this song, to staying in this room, brings everyone together. They drink, they smoke, they leave the house. A new screen appears in the installation, and singing that same refrain, the group wanders across a green meadow until their sound is gone. It's impossible to imagine The Visitors as anything but a film. The power of having 9 large screens showing the same stretch of time, the same house, the same song, but with the ability for us, the viewer, to experience each individual room at once. No critic is needed. The medium justifies the film as art. The medium justifies the film as art. This is it! If art under capitalism can be defined by using a medium in a way that no other medium can, then that's how we can find art in the art commodity. That's how a film can become art. As long as a film grapples with the very fabric of being a film, then it doesn't matter how much money it makes or how much studio meddling there was. It could have been made in a backyard with an iPhone or shot in 6 countries and blown up on an IMAX screen. As long as the final piece violently thrashes against the very thresholds of the medium of film. This is neither good nor bad. It just is. Pushing against the very bounds of film has no inherent meaning like the beautiful or the sublime. It cannot be political, it cannot be pastiche. The film may be cute and it may have a target audience, but the art within cannot be denied. It needs no critic to justify its purpose.
So, could Equestria Girls be a novel? Could it be a stage play? Would changing the medium remove some art that can only be found in film? We've asked My Little Pony Equestria Girls Friendship Games 2015 before, what is your purpose? Now let's ask it a different question.
Why are you a film and not some other medium?
In order to successfully launch a new line of dolls to compete with Mattel's Monster High line, which has performed historically well in the tween girl demographic, Hasbro found it necessary to continue the brand strategy of releasing a film or show to coincide with the release of a new brand. This is, in a way, to inspire play patterns by providing children archetypes to use during solo or friend-paired activities. With the unprecedented success of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Hasbro found that by using familiar characters from the show during the first portion of the film, these play patterns would be reinforced rather than re-established, and familiarity with the Friendship is Magic characters in Flash animated form directly resulted in its use in the Equestria Girls project.
So that's a no. Let's ask some other movies. Speed dating style. Why are you a film and not some other medium?
To sell toys, says the Minecraft movie. I don't know, says Rocky. The things we're showing are only possible with VFX, says Interstellar. It's the best way to show people my passion project, says Nosferatu.
Let's ask that same question to Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel. Why are you a film and not some other medium?
We are the viewer of a film titled The Grand Budapest Hotel. In this film, a woman visits a shrine adorned with hotel keys. The shrine is for a man who is only made known to us as author, who is, coincidentally, the author of a book titled The Grand Budapest Hotel. We dive another layer. Now we see the author in his study reading the manuscript of his book titled The Grand Budapest Hotel, which recounts a trip he took to the hotel of the same name. We dive another layer. Now we see and hear the younger author as he experiences the events of the Grand Budapest Hotel prior to the book's publishing. This author meets Zero, the hotel's owner, and Zero tells the story of how his ownership came to be. We dive another layer. Zero is a lobby boy in the Grand Budapest Hotel who works for concierge Gustav H. And from here, we experience the story proper. With each layer we dive, the aspect ratio narrows and the color grading transforms from a warm orange-dominated image in the 1960s to a more washed-out color dominated by pinks and reds in the 1930s. The more restricted the aspect ratio, the more distant the memory. It's entirely possible that a leap 200 years into the past would leave a barely visible square in the middle of a black screen. And the change in color is associated with the dominating color of the Grand Budapest Hotel in its respective time period. In the 1960s, the architectural consequences of World War II have rendered the hotel in stony brutalism, when its original form in the 1930s was a distinctly European pastiche of a French chateau with mansard roof and turrets, complete with an Art Nouveau entrance. If we were to start inwards, we would travel from Zero's recount in the 1930s to the young author in the 1960s, to the older author at an unknown time, to the book, to the girl, to us. We inhabit the final aspect ratio of this story, the widest of them all, with a different color grading than anything we've seen in the film. By agreeing to watch this film, we have inherently become another layer of the story. And in 30 years, if we were to look back at the way we were right now, certain colors would pop more, and the screen would be a little more narrow.
The way that Wes uses film is no different than the way a painter uses their canvas, who uses a different brushstroke to convey something that words cannot. This one is painted with impasto, where the paint is so thick that it leaps off the page. This one's in watercolor, laid wet on wet, so the colors mix and bleed.
I was in this cubicle one night, painting a garden at night, mostly black with some leaves green coming out. And I was sitting looking at this painting, and from the painting I heard a wind, and then I saw the green start to move. And I said, "Oh, a moving painting."
Within our world, right now, there are people who reject the advancement of technology by a conscious regression. You might be one of them. Phones with buttons, records, DVDs, film cameras. Analog keeps us in control of our content. If your favorite streaming service removes a movie, then that movie is gone. If you buy a movie on YouTube, there's no guarantee that film will continue to be hosted if the servers go offline. But if you buy a DVD, then no one can take that away. No one but time. Sony believes that a DVD that lasts longer than 100 years has outlived its life expectancy. The scratches will become part of its DNA until the film you have, while it may be the same movie, is no longer the same one you purchased. This change is more dramatic in VHS, where the process of manually rewinding and pausing, and in some cases, taping over something else, turns every copy of the same film into something that's developed its own DNA, its own memories. There's a mystery man in David Lynch's Lost Highway who introduces himself to Fred Madison at a house party.
We've met before, haven't we?
This is after Fred and his wife Renee have received a VHS tape with footage of their house, and after they've received another VHS tape showing the two of them sleeping in bed. Fred denies ever meeting this mystery man, who insists that not only have they met, but he's at Fred's house right now.
Call me.
Fred calls. He answers.
I told you I was here.
The following day, a final tape arrives. It's Fred, standing over his wife, Renee, dismembered on the floor of their bedroom. Fred is arrested and locked up in death row. But when the guards check on him the next morning, he's gone, and in his place is an auto mechanic named Pete. And after some questioning, Pete's released, and he goes back to work at the auto repair shop, where one of his clients brings his mistress named Alice. And Alice looks a lot like Renee, Fred's dead wife. Eventually, Pete disappears and is replaced by Fred, who staggers through the desert looking for Alice until he finds
cabin. And inside that cabin, with a camcorder behind his back, is the mystery man.
Alice who? Her name is Renee. If she told you her name is Alice, she's lying.
The mystery man pulls out his camcorder with the fresh tape inside. No distortion, no chance for Fred to rewind, to distort, to create a new story, to create an alibi. Lost Highway is a VHS tape. Fred's tampered with it. He's rewritten over the parts he doesn't like, and we've been tricked. And this man, the mystery man, in all of his grainy footage, is the truth.
I like to remember things my own way.
What do you mean by that?
How I remembered them. Not necessarily the way they happened.
We've talked a lot about what art is and what art isn't, but I want to leave you with one more thing. There's nothing wrong with the art commodity. It might not be art, but that doesn't mean it's not worth talking about. And in this wacky world we live in, sometimes having a movie just be a movie is enough. Because if a conversation can happen about something that someone made, then that's a beautiful thing. But it's important to use the right language. Art is art. Commodity is commodity. Knowing the difference means that you're a little bit less of a reviewer and a little bit more of a critic. Because ignorance isn't cool. But to a lot of people, it's cute. We are Only Go Studios, and we are making a feature-length 2D animated movie in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're interested in learning more, you can find our Patreon link in the description to help us make this movie even faster, or check us out on Instagram for all sorts of goofy things. And if you haven't seen our award-winning short film Magnolia Manor yet, by golly, check it out. It's a hoot. It's about a boy who goes to a big house and silly things happen to him. It's a great time. You're gonna love it. Watch Friendship Games. Watch Rainbow Rocks. Have a scary good day. Bye. That burrito? Well, I'll show you guys. Hold on. This burrito here, you can see this. It's this guy.